Hi there, planner friends, and welcome to A Plan With Me. And this is for the last week of June, which includes the first day of July. And this was my previous week's spread, which was colorful and fun, and I think I just wanted to carry that on throughout this week. And I think it's summer that's affecting me this way, but I decided to go with the cutest, most colorful stickers I own, which are found in this organizational binder, which just includes all my Japanese and Korean tiny stickers. And for some reason, I had the idea that I wanted each day of the week to be like a speech bubble that one of the animals was to speak, I suppose. And I even sketched it out on the post-it ahead of time. And that's what I do if I don't have my spread planned out for the next week and I have an idea. I usually just stick it on a post-it note because I have so many post-it notes and they're one of my favorite school supplies. But here I roughly sketched out what I thought in my mind, and I'm just laying down the first sticker, and these are some awkward but still cute animals, and I think the awkwardness just adds to their endearing quality, and I really like them. And I'm using something that's new to me. It's a Tombow Duo or Mono or something like that, but Duo makes sense. It's a correction tape and eraser all in one, and I really do like the eraser, but I find that it's a lot softer than I'm used to, so you don't need to use that much pressure. If you use too much pressure, it's like the friction heats it up or something, and it leaves those gummy streaks. So a very light hand makes that eraser a little bit more effective and efficient. And I had a hard time trying to decide which stickers to put down, and I almost wasted that koala sticker because I didn't want to repeat any animals within the spread, but I had already pulled it up, so what to do? I put it near my birthday in my July monthly spread just to spare it. Again, I'm still trying to figure out my layout a bit. I didn't want the speech bubbles to be super perfect, which is why it's so roughly sketched. And I was thinking that based off of last week's spread, where I kind of didn't leave myself a ton of room for Sunday, that I probably wouldn't have the room for Sunday in this week's spread, but I quickly realized that I could do whatever I want, because this is drawn by hand, there are no rules, and I'm just gonna go with it. I'm also double checking to see what color I want to kind of dominate the spread for the week. I recently purchased some new microns because I realized JetPens has them in the size I prefer, but still in crazy colors, which is a little hard to come by if you're buying them individually from Michael's or somewhere like that. And I bought some crazy colors, including this one, which is actually yellow, I believe, but it reads as orange, and I thought this color would go with the spread. And I even already kind of roughly sketched out the font that I was imagining using, and it looks remarkably like Comic Sans. I will say that. But I still think it looks cute, and it's perfect for this week's spread. I decided before I get too far with writing out the days of the week that I should probably put in a sketch bubble, or sketch a speech bubble in there rather. And I'm going in with the thinnest micron I have, which is 005, and I don't know, when I'm a little unsure of what I'm drawing, I tend to reach for the thinnest pen I can find. The trade-off is that the thinnest pen usually gives you that sketchy quality, Like, the lines are less forgiving, I will say, and you run into issues later on. But I think it still works out. It's just, I think from now on I'll try to go in with a slightly thicker fine liner and just double down on whatever image I see in my head. Again, I didn't want these speech bubbles to be super perfect. I didn't want them all to be like the same oblong shape. So that's why I went a little out of my way on Tuesday to really get it in close with the sticker. Again, I'm just drawing the speech bubbles as I go, using the thinner micron and then erasing. Now this is super sped up, and I had to stop a few times in this process because my husband was washing my dog, and the dog escaped and was very wet and running all over the house, so I had to intervene at different points. And it's a tiny dog too, so my help was certainly needed. So although it took me a little bit to do it, it wasn't actually that labor intensive. Although I did go over it a bunch, I just continued adding layers because it wasn't quite right to me. And I discovered here that if I made that little box a little oddly shaped, that I could add a full day next to it. So I had a full 7 days accounted for in this spread, which is fantastic. Because I still like seeing the days of the week, even if I have nothing really planned for Sunday, which is true for most of the time. I try to block out Sunday, just because it's a day that my husband and I both have off, so it's a preferred sort of family day rather than a try to get stuff done day, if that makes any sense. And what we're doing right now is just binge watching all the HBO we can get because we started one of those trial subscriptions. So we shall see where that goes. I am continuing with this faintly Comic Sans font, and I made Friday super small. I figured since I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, that by the time Friday rolled around, I'd be a little worn out and perhaps not super focused on working on projects or that sort of thing, so it was tiny. Saturday, however, is the day to get things done. Saturday is the day that I'm actually recording this voiceover, and it took me a little bit to get to it, as you can tell. And I'm also prepping for One Book July. I'm not sure what iteration One Book July will take for me just yet. I think I'm going to focus on the project aspect. I'm still going to move, not necessarily planners, but at least the cover, since I did recently purchase a new Foxy Fix Perfect Fit cover when it was on the mystery sale clearance section, and I got the perfect cover for me, which is, you'll see. But anyways, at this point, now that I've done doing all the fonts, I decided to go over the speech bubbles, and I waited a little bit for the micron to dry, which is the key to writing with them, I think. I usually write them over pencil, and I just need to wait a teensy bit for them to dry before I attempt to sort of erase any of that. I went in with a darker micron, or a thicker micron. This one's just the 0.5, which is the thickest one I own, and I thought I'd put in a drop shadow, but I am not super great at sketching or drawing or that sort of thing, so my drop shadow was a little odd at first, and I think I evaluate that at the end and decide to go in a little more in depth. For some reason, doing this on camera, the last couple of boxes always look a little weird. I think it's just the positioning of my hand on the page. So I'm evaluating it, decided I needed to go a little bit deeper. When you think of shadows, they only appear on the part that's exposed, depending on where the light source is. And I always just go in rather than decide where the light source is coming from. I know this, but I probably won't change it. And I'm just referring to the back of my pen test area, and I try to determine what color marker or highlighter I could use to add some more interest to the spread, because in the first iteration in my head I was essentially done with the spread, because all I thought up was having one of my cute stickers showcased, and then having the day of the week just built up around it. I didn't consider the background, and I saw that for the size of daily box I was making, that there was a lot of extra room back there, and I didn't want to just stick stickers down willy-nilly like I did last week, because I don't know, I wanted the focus to be on the stickers, but then I still wanted some color, especially to pick up what I used for the days of the week. So I went with a trusty mild liner. If I needed to do this again, I would probably really try to use one of the Tombow colored play dot markers, only because they already come in that circular shape and it's super easy to do. Now, it only required just a fraction of effort in order to make these with the mild liner. Where I actually kind of failed was in counting off the spaces correctly. So in some areas it looks really nice and it looks like everything matches, and in other areas it's super apparent that I did not line them up right. But that's okay, because it's just 1 week, and aside from that, or even maybe because of that, I still think it came out really cute. And plus, it was all imperfectly perfect anyways. I find that if I need to add color to my spread, I prefer to do it with a mild liner anyways. They're just transparent washes of color that I think look better overall than using, like, I don't know, a really thick like Copic marker or something like that. I say, despite never using a Copic marker. So, you know, trust my voice in the matter. And you can tell that in the areas where I misaligned those dots, I actually just drew more dots, more just like imperfect dots. As I neared the end, I realized that it was kind of dominating the spread, whereas I just wanted it for some contrast between the boxes and the background. And a few times I paused because I considered, well, maybe I would do something like have the dots focused in one section of the spread and then like scatter out toward the most dominant part, I guess. But then I realized I was in too deep and continued going. But yeah, for One Book July, who knows what's gonna happen. I feel like I don't want to try changing my system all that much because what I'm doing right now is really working for me. And I actually want to finish out my bullet journal. So I will continue to be in this book. I just might focus on projects because there's certainly a lot I should be doing or could do to improve my life and the life of my loved ones in this month that is upcoming. Now that I have time anyways. And here I decided to continue with that whole contrast, but also sort of downplay the vibrancy of the orange, that I would kind of tamp it down with some gray. And this is 20% warm gray, I believe, from the Prismacolor colored pencils, which I got at the beginning of the quarter because I needed them for a school project. And needed is certainly in quotes because it wasn't really needed. I just find I do my best justification on purchasing school supplies when I am actually in school. And again, my drop shadow turned into more of just, I don't know, a more defined line. I went in with a 0-1 this time, and I tried to deepen the original line that I put in. But as you can see, because I made the initial line with such a thin marker, it was a little difficult to go over it. And if it wasn't perfectly in line with the original line, it looks all wonky. But again, it's imperfect. And eventually I just accept that. But not before trying to fix it again with another 0.5 pass through, just to deepen the bottom of the bubbles. Here I think the bubbles were looking a lot better, as defined as they were. And although I was concerned with the amount of possible bleed through on the other side, I continued. But although these boxes were becoming a little more defined, the stickers were getting lost. So since these stickers were already closely cut around the actual subjects in them, I decided to go around the stickers with the 0.5 just to add even more definition and separate and hopefully add a little bit to their presence. I feel like I'm saying a whole lot of words about nothing, but really it's a simple spread. Next time I might just speed it up a little bit more because there's not much to say because it was so easy. But man, these stickers are cute, right? And there are a few times I messed up and actually nicked the sticker with a pen, but that's okay. Then I realized it was weird to have them floating. Out of all the things that were going on this spread, yes, this was the weird part to me, that they were floating in space, in this weird dotted space. So I decided to give them little platforms, but they were kind of looking like those escape sort of circles from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So I added some lines so it would look like the shadow emanating from underneath. And then, last but not least, I was feeling like now the days of the week were a little lost in everything that was going on with the spread. So I tested some drop shadows out on this roughly sketched Monday. Again, I should probably take a moment to consider where light comes from, but I just went in. And after that little test, I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. It's hard to tell from this far away what the effect is, because I used the thinnest micron I have again, but in person it looks really nice. I do have a photo posted on Instagram, and I will have a wrap-up of the week posted on my Instagram as well on Sunday, so you can see how it worked out for me this week. But overall, it's been a really easy spread to flip to. I look forward to flipping to it this week because it's so colorful and weird and unique. And since I've been heavily using my Coletto, and my Coletto currently has orange and blue-black ink in it, that's what I primarily used for the week. Orange was to denote stuff I did, and then blue-black was to plan for things and tasks. So overall, these were the supplies that I wound up using. It was just a ton of microns, but you could use your favorite mild liner if you wanted to do something similar. And just so you could see, there wasn't a lot of bleed through. There was a little bit of shadowing, but overall I don't think it was that bad. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye!